Welcome to this episode of Locked In. In this episode, I'm going to be doing my review of the 76 Project Ass Slider System. Yeah, you heard me right, the anti-strap system. If you run a top two bag on your bike, whether it's bolt-on or you strap it on, and you hate having to set it up every single time because you don't use it for every ride, well, this is the video for you, so please stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already. So in this review, I'm going to be going over the features of this system, installation, price, and my final thoughts. So let me just tease you a little bit and show you that's how easy it is to take your top tube bag off and how easy it is to put it back on. This system is comprised of two separate components. First, you're going to have your clip system that's going to go onto the front of your top tube bag of choice. Then you're going to have your slider system that's going to mount to the bottom of your top tube bag. So before you get into the comments, don't go saying, oh, I don't have a bolt on, this won't work. Just wait. So again, the main feature of this system is quick, easy installation of your top tube bag onto your bike. And as you can see, very minimal as far as what's left on the bike when not in use, so you get that nice clean look. So basically your clip is going to consist of the clip itself that's going to wrap onto the front of the bag, and this is adjustable up and down, as well as you can flip it upside down if you're going to run the spacer below the stem. Then you're going to get a 10mm equivalent spacer that's going to clip into this part here. Then you're going to get your bolt-on or adhesive-on slider mount. So this mount, basically, you just punch out the two holes that are in there to add in the countersunk screws if you have a bolt-on style frame, or you can use the adhesive that comes with the kit to basically put that onto your frame and leave that on there as a semi-permanent solution. So now let's move on to installation. Now, I'm going to be showing you two different setups for this because I really think this system works great for strap-on bags without even using the slider. So let's start with the clip first. The clip is simply going to install onto a bag, and as you're going to see here, this is my Kai Venture top tube bag, and I do have a discount code for 15% off if you want to pick one up for yourself, but this bag is a strap-on style. So what I wanted to see was, will this clip actually improve this? Because when you are using a top tube bag, when you're turning the handlebar, sometimes you'll see it kind of sway, especially if you're using Velcro. If you use paracord, it does minimize this, but you can still have some movement in the top tube bag where, depending on how you're climbing, you may have some top tube bag rub on your knees while climbing on your bike. So I wanted to install this system into the front, and as you can see, I installed it in the orientation with the clip being on top because I do have my stem slammed on my Cobalt Warhawk. After you thread the Velcro through, you're then going to use the elastic cord that is on the front to hold the Velcro in place, and then you're going to want to cut off the excess after dialing the system in. Then you're going to take it over to your bike, slide that thing on, and then adjust from there. It did take me a few different tries to get the optimal setup for the clip onto the front of the top tube bag, and I ended up running it in the lower position. But after that, you can see that it simply clips in. You then strap on your bag like you would normally would, and as you can see when I turn the handlebars, that bag is not moving at all. And the Kai Venture bag is on the softer side, so it does have the ability to take up extra items, but it does have a little bit more movement than a more rigid setup like my Revolut Design top tube bag I have in my hand right now. So that's your first system setup, and like I said, this works great for any strap-on style bag in my opinion, and if you don't want to commit to adhering the slider system to your frame if you don't have direct mount bolts. But now let's get into the slider system. The slider is simply going to bolt into your frame, and again, if you don't have that, just use the adhesive, tape that thing down, let it dry like it says in the instructions, and then you can use it. But once you get that installed on your frame, you're then going to install the slider onto the bottom side of your top tube bag. And if you want to convert your existing top tube bag to direct mount like I did with this bag here, I'll put that video in the description below of how I converted this myself for free basically. So then you're just going to install the countersunk screws, and you can see that there is a large amount of movement in the slider underneath, so you can align this properly depending on where your bolts may end up on your frame. And then you're going to install the supplied washer on the inside and then the nylon nut, which is a nice feature so it doesn't mark up or scratch anything inside your top tube bag. I tend to hold a lot of electronics in here, so I do like that added thought process. When I've done this bolt-on before, I actually would just run some Gorilla Tape over the nuts to protect whatever I put in the top tube bag, but I don't have to worry about this with the nylon nuts. You're simply going to then slide it onto your setup and leave a little bit of room for adjustment so you can get that bag nice and tucked up to the front and simply install it. Once that's set up, I just reached my hand in and tightened everything by hand with the nylon nuts inside, then pulled it off nice and gently, tightened it fully down. Remember, they are nylon, so you don't need to torque them like crazy, and then you're all set up. And again, as you see, this thing moves so freely and the bag is dead straight and does not move at all. So I really do like that for this system, and I'm probably going to use this top 2 bag way more often now. So that's going to lead me into price for this setup. Now, each individual component is 3D printed directly at 76 Project, and they're going to range at $28 if you buy them separately, or $50 if you buy both together. So this allows you to have a modular system if you just want one component of this. If you do have a really rigid top 2 bag, I can see you just one in the slider, and obviously if you have a strap-on bag, I can see you just one in the clip. So they give you that option when ordering from them. Now, shipping is going to vary depending on where you're located, but that's going to lead me into my final thoughts. I really love this system. I think it's a really smart, innovative, simple solution that you can adapt to anything you currently have. You can either modify the top 2 bag that you already have to give it that really sleek look, which I really like not having the straps down here, especially if you are running other bags. Trying to get your straps from your top 2 bag to your frame bag to line up every single time is kind of a pain in the butt when installing bike packing bags on your bike. So direct mount is always going to be the cleaner of the look and easier to work with multiple systems, especially if your brands of bags are different because they're not kind of designed together. After that, it just works. With 3D printing now especially, I'm not worried about these being brittle because they're essentially a low friction item that's not going to see a lot of stress. So I think this is a really cool solution. Now, if I had to nitpick, the spacer being 10 mil, and because my bike's slammed, it isn't ideal for my setup, but again, that's just because of me. I aesthetically would like to run this underneath the stem so it's a lot cleaner of a look and you don't really notice the thickness of the spacer, but I can't do that since I don't have enough real estate above the stem, and since it is a carbon steer tube, you always want to have a spacer above. So because of that, that's just my setup personally, but if you have any kind of amount of spacers, this is going to slot in perfectly. Like I said, that is a 10 mil spacer equivalent. But the system just works. It has a safety click in the top tube mount, so you have security that this thing's not going to slide off on you randomly. So it does click into place really nicely to give you a secure audible click as well, so you're sure that you're in there. And then obviously you can see visually that the clip in the front is clipped into the spacer. But that's it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this system, and if you have it already on your bike. I'm going to have links for their website directly, so I really do appreciate them sending this out. I'm by no means paid by them to do this review, but I thought this was a really cool, innovative, simple solution, and these are the exact kind of products that I love putting on my channel and showing to everybody. So I hope you like this video. Please make sure to subscribe, turn notifications on, and give this video a like if you haven't already. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, as well as if you want to help support the channel so I can do more videos like this every single week. You can check out my Spreadshirt where I have my Slow But Look Pro t-shirts and other merch, as well as on Pateron. I really would appreciate it. And thanks for watching this episode of Locked In.
Let's get